Hello, and welcome to Star Trek Reliant, the podcast dedicated to playing with Star Trek adventures in the Star Trek Online and Star Trek Foundry universe. Tonight, we've got a full house and a continuation of our Trident series, so this is part 2. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, probably a good time to pause the episode, go back and do that. That was a good episode. Now, once you're back, let's have some fun here. Alright, so let's start off with our security officer, Chorog.
I am here to drink Warnog and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
We've got our science officer, DB Wells.
Help, I'm stuck in a dimension where my microphone is slightly worse than the other one.
We've got our
But everything
other
else is pretty much the same.
We've got our other science officer, Grawl.
Sir, I think that rock is hanging to us very, very fast.
We've got con officer Kara Junrani.
Greetings, everyone, and don't worry, the Rock just wants to hug the spaceship. Oh, by the way, Chorog, we're out of Warnog.
We've got our XO and CMO, Eli O'Connor.
Can you smell what that space rock is cooking? It smells really bad. I don't like it.
We've got our rhyming chief engineer, Rick Tier.
I may have to check the oven on that one because generally sometimes the heating elements may just flare up and burn things.
And we've got our chaplain / counselor / totally normal humanoid, Waitley.
Hello, how is everyone doing today? I hope the evening finds you well.
Alrighty, so as a recap from last time, for the people who insisted on either not reviewing the entire last episode in the span of this week.
And we know you, and we'll find you.
So, for the recap, last episode, a mysterious spatial anomaly has abducted Kara Junrani and Captain Marcus Graves. The crew was attempting to locate them and find them through a residual spatial portal, but the Reliant was pulled through with some consternation / hurting of Lieutenant Moon, but he'll recover. And the ship finds itself deep within a pocket subspace domain containing 3 artificial planetoids and a lot of space junk with anomalous signatures all around, and some other mysterious consequences as well. Let's go ahead and open up with one of those consequences with Chaplain Waitley, who finds himself where he's been in this escapade of Captain Eli being on the bridge and taking care of the things up there. But Waitley, as soon as they cross into this subspace domain, finds that everything feels blank. Empty.
Like his head is quiet?
His head is completely quiet, and he cannot hear anyone's thoughts on the ship.
Okay. So Waitley's probably down in his quarters / office, and he's probably reading up on, one of the crew's files because they've got a session coming up soon, and he's just preparing himself, and then he stops, he looks up, looks out porthole out into the starfield outside.
Well, let me grab a... Keep going, I'll just grab a picture for the visual for you.
Well, outside the window, you basically see sort of a yellowish kind of nebula and 3 massive planets in sort of a triangle formation. There's also a lot of space junk. A whole lot. Most of it rings the first planet, but frankly, it goes throughout the small entirety of this system.
Ooh, Rick asked a good question. Is his guest still in his head?
Good point.
He still would be.
Yeah, because he's literally in your head.
Yeah, okay.
Your telepathic range is 0.
All right. Waitley taps his comm badge. This is Chaplain Whately to the bridge. Has something happened that I should be aware of?
Larissa's voice comes back immediately. Okay, so the shaking of the ship and everything didn't clue you in?
I'm sorry, I was reading.
Wish I could read through something like that. Yeah, after the captain and Kara got kidnapped by some sort of weird gravitational anomaly, we're in some weird little subspace pocket universe. You probably want to talk to Captain O'Connor. He can fill you in.
So as soon as Kara says went through to subspace pocket, as soon as he hears those words, he immediately jumps out of his chair and books it to the turbo lift to go to the bridge. And he says, "On my way, Whately out."
The crewmen in the hallway are very surprised to see the visage of a running Victor Whately.
Guy who's pretty much 99% of the time calm, cool, collected, no matter what's going on, just suddenly bursts out of his quarters and he's just
One of the guys that Whately runs past suddenly just crosses himself and says, "Vaya con Dios."
So he gets to the turbo lift. He's like, "Bridge, yesterday."
There's about 3 Gs of acceleration as the turbo lift shoots up to the bridge.
So Whately steps off the turbo lift onto the bridge and assays the situation.
So Lieutenant Moon has been transported to sickbay, and DB Wells has one of the con terminals.
Specifically, DB Wells has the con terminal based on what happened to the other one.
Wait, didn't
It's Chorok switched, I thought.
Yeah, I thought one of the
Oh, yeah.
I thought one of the Reuthayans took over or something.
No, the Reuthayans are off in sickbay because they're dealing with the same stuff that Whately is.
I thought
Or
Charles
was it
took the con and Daniel went off to use the science console.
Yeah,
Okay,
so it's
yeah.
probably Chorog piloting then.
So Chorog's
I
at the
was-
con, and then BB's back at the science.
Alright.
Larissa just looks over from tactical. Why'd it get quiet all of a sudden?
We're assessing the situation.
Charles is busy trying to stabilize their flight situation.
Whately moves over and takes his seat to the left of the center chair, looks at O'Connor and says, "It would seem I missed some interesting events."
And it would seem you're in the wrong chair. Right now, you're my first officer. Get over to it.
Whately blinks and he's like, Does command privilege automatically assign by one's seat?"
It helps, okay? It helps me think.
Duly noted. And he switches seats. As he does so, he's going to, as he sits down in the other chair, he kind of rests his hand on O'Connor's shoulder, and he thinks at him. He's going to test the sudden inhibition of his telepathy. Can you hear me?
With physical contact, the answer is yes.
What the hell did you... What the... How are you doing that?
So Whately explains that the reason he knew something was wrong was that his head was suddenly quiet for the first time since the last time they were at Risa. And, the only time Whately's ever not really complaining internally about what he's hearing internally is when they're at Risa. That's why he loves Risa, is everybody's happy, so he's not bombarded by, ow, I stubbed my toe, and oh, I hate my depression, all the stuff that's constantly going on in people's heads that Whately constantly hears. So he was like, okay, yeah, something's wrong. And he's just checking to see if it's proximity. And apparently, physical contact reestablishes connection.
Alright, that's good. I was worried when I stopped feeling people, so... But, Reuthean... Reutheans were also feeling it, I just told them to head to sickbay.
So, from the science station, Grawl, can I get a let's say control science for sensor sweep?
Well, while the other science person is scanning, Daniel gets up and goes over to Whately. It is pronounced Whately, right?
Whately.
Whately?
Whately.
Yeah.
Long A.
Okay, sorry. I'm not sure if I've ever said that out loud. Daniel goes over to Whately and holds out a hand, saying, I'm sorry, I'm not sure if we've ever been, properly introduced. Hi, my name's Daniel.
Whately turns his attention from O'Connor to Daniel. He looks at his hand. There's just a slight little flicker of a smirk on his lips for just the briefest of a nanosecond. And then he takes Daniel's hand and shakes it. And just for a brief flash, Daniel's mind is filled with images of intense, incomprehensible darkness and terror. And Whately says, "Charmed, a pleasure to meet you."
Daniel's just kind of stood there for a moment. His brain's been through a lot the past 24 hours. And just kind of gives him a look and kind of backs away back towards his console.
Whately nods and turns his attention back to O'Connor.
So, Chorog, go ahead and give me a control con for an evade roll.
Nice.
Okay, so several things happen on the ship all at once. First off, the inertial dampeners struggle to keep up as Chorog suddenly, turns the ship and flies in an intricate maneuver to avoid a chunk of ship hull. Chorog, do you want to describe how that works?
Chorog is monitoring the helm and notices on the forward scanner a rather large chunk of ship heading towards them. Not having time to ask permission to evade, he just evades in a very complicated roll to the left.
At about the same time all that's happening, Grawl, you finally managed to get some sensor readings through the interference cloud. In addition to all the space junk around, you pick up various small shuttles going to and from the planet and some small orbital stations, and nearby there are two things which look to be ships. One of them actually has 2 life signs aboard.
Whoa, shakes the debris and dust out of his feathers and turns to O'Connor. Sir, we're picking up some traffic nearby. There seems to be a vessel with at least 2 life forms on board nearby.
Are they aware of us? And can you tell what species they are?
Well, you don't know if they're aware of you or not, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of power signs from that vessel. As for the species, you can tell that it's 2 different species, one for each of the people aboard, but the computer does not identify either of them.
2 of them unidentified, and the power is fading on the vessel. We might want to see if we should assist them.
Get a security team to the transporter room. Chora, actually no, not Chora, you're piloting, we need you. Whately, could you oversee them down there in the transporter room? Report to me.
Whately nods and gets up and says, "Aye, aye." And he heads to the turbo lift and makes his way to the transporter room.
In the meantime, Grawl can bring up on the main scanner the ship that has the 2 life signs in it. It's a massive rectangular behemoth that dwarfs the Reliant in size. It seems to be orbiting the planet, but it's also rotating slightly along one axis and another, spinning just slightly out of control in space. It's pockmarked with various craters that have smashed into the heavy armor over the years. Whatever this ship was, it must have been quite a sight back when it was operational.
Chorog having to look up and see this vessel. I don't think our tractor beam has enough power to stabilize that.
That ship
Nor
looks
should we-
ancient.
Sorry.
That ship looks ancient. It's incredibly pot-marked. The people on board may be in stasis.
Or they could just be out of stasis if power's running low.
Well, according to what you can tell, the life forms are moving around, but slowly. They seem to be limited to one small section of the ship where there appears to be atmosphere.
Sir, they seem to be in a small area of the ship where there's all kinds of atmosphere. They seem to be all alone, more or less. And I can't tell much more than that.
Just we'll have the transporter try to get a lock on them without also exposing us, because I remember last time that we were under the low power hiding thing.
So what's the next step for Captain O'Connor then to deal with our mystery?
I already given the orders to get down there and transport them.
All right. Transport them up. You got it.
Security team down there first, but yeah.
Let's who wants to run the transporter to beam them up?
I think that'll be me.
All right, Rick, you are called to the transporter room. Waitley is already there. Your orders are to sneakily beam up 2 people who probably aren't expecting to be beamed up. Thanks to the fact that nobody is likely expecting this, Waitley has also brought with him Bryce and another couple security people, just in case it devolves into shooting.
One of those security people is just going to be Lieutenant Tardigrade wearing like the classic, like motion picture, like security armor, like the helmet and like the shoulder pads.
Do we have any momentum?
No, well, actually...
Nope. No.
Okay, GM has ruled no.
No. We start fresh.
Okay.
Well, we did do some rolls already, but I think based on the rolls, Grawl just got extra information on his, and I don't know about Chorog, so those are the only 2 rolls so far.
I would have counted as, like, getting the 2 successes means that we didn't scrape the ship.
Gotcha. So you guys have actually aced some very difficult rolls so far. All right, Rick, can I get a control engineering from you?
Okay, there we go. I've got a focusing transporters, so that applies.
You managed to reach out and lock on with no problem. 2 people are beamed aboard. The first one appears to be around about 5 foot 6 feet tall, very thick, and wearing some sort of heavily patched and scuffed environment suit. He looks like he was halfway in the, process of lifting or cutting something. He has a torch in his hands, and he looks around incredibly surprised. While the person with him...
Oh, the person with him is also a rather short... Because I wasn't quite sure if you're describing this one.
Sorry. No, I was describing someone else.
Yes. The person with him is basically standing with a large bag hurled across his shoulder and is wearing a, again, rather ragged and scuffed, part of an environmental suit, but it doesn't have... The helmet is currently flipped backwards. And he notably has green skin and a rather lumpy disposition.
And the best eyebrows in the business.
Yes. Some extended eyebrows, but neatly combed green hair and a little bit of a green goatee.
The first figure, the one still in the complete environment suit, seems to react in surprise, and a variety of sort of growls, barks, and other strange noises seems to flow out of the environment suit. Seems like your universal translator is not currently active on that one.
The other individual just says, and he just holds his hands up, and the bag just clatters to the floor, spilling out all sorts of miscellaneous circuitry panels, gear, some small devices.
Noting what his companion does, the other one also raises his arms, but continues making various strange noises.
Welcome aboard the USS Reliant.
Go ahead.
I guess we should find some quarters for our guests.
Ah, crap, my mic was muted. I was like, why is nobody responding to what I'm saying? Wait. So, Waitley, kind of takes in the sight of these 2 people, and he steps forward, and, welcome aboard the USS Reliant. My name is Chaplain Waitley. I have been sent to escort you to somewhere. He stops, he says, "Can you understand what I'm saying?"
There's a long, pregnant pause, whereas one of the figures continues to seemingly babble on, and then after a couple seconds, almost like a switch is flipped, says, "And then that time Mom made yarrow pie, man, that was a good night. Let me tell you, that was really great. So the next day, I got up in the morning, and I went over to the cave, and I'm going to assume at some point someone interrupts him."
Waitley raises his hand, looks at Rick, and says, "Is the universal translator picking this up?"
Now it is.
Hey, you can understand me. Okay, I can stop talking now. I figure, if I kept talking, maybe it would work.
Waitley gives a small, curt smile, and he says, "Excellent. I assume then that you're familiar with translator technology."
Oh yeah, you guys must be newcomers, right?
Yes, I suppose you could say that.
So, you're not going to shoot us, huh?
Not unless you give us a reason to, no.
Hey, you never know. He puts his hands down.
as I was saying earlier, my name is Chaplain Victor Waitley, and I am here to escort you to somewhere a little more comfortable so that we can figure out where we are.
Oh, that's easy. You're in the Trident system.
Waitley arches an eyebrow. Is that supposed to mean something to us?
I guess not yet. It will, though.
He nods and he says, please, follow me. And, what were your names?
Oh, I'm Urton. He kind of jabs a thumb at his sort of pudgy barrel-like chest. And then he gestures over. And, the guy with the eyebrows there, that's Pim.
And Pim.
Whoop.
I greet you in the spirit of the caretaker, and I promise that I will not try to steal your stuff, so long as you do not put anything into me.
Why'd you have to put that image in my head, Pim? I thought shooting was the worst they could do.
Well, it wasn't good to tell you about the drawer fund.
Oh, gods.
I am
So-
Chief Engineer Rick here. Welcome to the Reliant.
Did you just say thief engineer?
Chief,
As,
head, in charge of.
yeah, so, okay, so this is good.
Yeah, you're more the
Question.
thief engineer.
Yes, so, I was thinking, I want us to stay, right?
As they're walking along and Waitley's leading them to I'm going to guess like one of those ancillary conference rooms. You know, not the one up by the bridge, but one that's on like deck 2 or 3, something like that. He's gonna kind of casually put his hand on Pim's back and just see if he can get an idea of what's going through the guy's head.
Static.
Okay.
So, just static from this one.
He could try the other one, though, Urton.
Nah, I guess he might as well. The reason I focused on Pim was because he's saying some things that are kind of raising some suspicions with Waitley. But yeah, since he's getting nothing from him, he'll do the same to Urton.
Out of character, all I can say is welcome to Pim.
Okay.
When you do that on Urton, you can tell that he's trying to be exceptionally polite. He doesn't want anyone to hurt him, but he'd really like to get back to work.
Okay.
So the group just heads inside, and Urton kind of waddles over to the table and looks at the chair for a minute and just kind of sits on it sideways so the long, thick tail, dragging out the back of his environment suit can just kind of sit across it that way. He reaches up and just kind of twists and pulls and tugs and growls and twists and pulls and tugs and presses buttons and pulls and tugs and finally manages to get his helmet off. When he actually takes his helmet off, what greets you is a sort of canine-like head with a, short, stout muzzle. What's especially odd, though, is that despite the creature being vaguely dog-like and having white fur, it has 4 eyes as well as 4 ears, and its nose has 4 nostrils. 4 seems to be a strangely useful color for this species. All of his eyes are red, and they just kind of track, Waitley and the security team.
So they're sitting down.
Yeah, Waitley leads them into this little conference room, and he gestures
Okay.
for them to take a seat.
So Pim, at his seat, will lean over. He just pokes his chair and gives it a thud, and he licks it. Nodding to himself, he just then sits down, leans back, and kicks his feet up on the conference table.
Waitley takes his seat as well, and he just kind of watches everything. He's trying to keep his face neutral, not have any kind of reaction to anything. He says, so... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Rick here also takes a seat, and so based on what you said in the transporter room, you were, salvaging?
Yeah. Takes a lot to be able to come out and come up here in space, but yeah, we were trying to pick apart some stuff.
It's such a hassle to get up here that a lot of ships haven't been all that well salvaged. Like that one. That's actually an old Yizzle ship. Used to belong to my people. Probably how we first got here.
Pim just takes a look around at the room and says, don't think it'll be much of interest to you, with a fancy ship with fresh paint and carpets.
Ouch, my pride.
Not useful at all. He Pim tries to wink at his friend, and it says, "Yep. So I can answer a few questions, but then might be moseying along."
Wheatley takes in a breath. He looks at Richter. I imagine we'll have quite a few questions for you if you're willing to indulge us. The first question that I am curious to know the answer to is, what exactly is the Trident system? Where are we exactly?
Him just points out the window.
Urton doesn't look actually much more helpful. He just says, you're in Trident. You come here and then that's it. You're here."
Him mimes with one hand. See, a Trident has three Pokebits, and this has 3 planets. It's a common name. There's others. The cluster of worlds, the place that is here, but Trident usually goes for the peoples.
Whately's gonna start tapping on a panel, and he's gonna bring up a display of their last location before they went through the vortex or portal or whatever it was. And he says, "Does this chart look familiar at all to you?"
Nope.
It looks like what newcomers bring along with them. Pictures of the outside. Under multiverse, stuff like that. Clerics, scientists, they get all in a tizzy about it, but a couple of salvagers, we're not really the people to ask about that.
So you're originally from this area. You're not from outside then.
Oh yeah.
Born in Portland.
Gosh, how many generations have my family been here? I think it was my great. This continues for a while.
I think I understand.
Oh, okay.
My people, for all I know, my people have always been here. So, I can't help much there. So, maybe I should just kind of explain, some of the lingo. So, you got the worlds. You got the first world, second world, third world. First world is where everyone is. That's the nice one. And you got newcomers. Newcomers, that's you. You from the outside, come here. Have a little bit of a settling in period, but things generally work out pretty well.
I guess we should probably go ahead and drop the bad news on you immediately. You're not leaving.
Whately nods,
probably.
seemingly not surprised. He says, "That was one of the questions I was intending to ask. Thank you."
Yeah, I think the only way you could get out is if Speaker Arun let you out. I don't
Tell me more about the speaker.
Oh, the Speaker, she's the caretaker of Trident. She's in charge of all the world tech and stuff. Granted, I've never actually seen her.
See,
I
and
might
I
have seen her
assume
once, but it may have been a shrub coming out of some world tech. But basically that. Wise old figure, center of the histories, and occasionally makes some appearances up in Central. But it's just a, shall we say, management figure. Someone who doesn't really get on a lot with people.
Yeah, if you want to talk to somebody who knows stuff about that, it's probably best to grab one of the witnesses. They keep track of everything for the Speaker.
Yep. Pest near them, and Speaker Rune will hear about it.
It's like an information pinata. You hit them until answers come out.
Or just, hit them. They often don't really like that.
Whately is doing everything he can to keep a straight face during this, and he's taking notations, and obviously everything's being recorded. And he sends a quick little message to O'Connor with a text. "Is there anything you need me to ask them?"
By the way, you guys do have jokes, right? You realize that was a joke?
Whately nods.
Okay,
Whately nods and says, "Yes, I'm just notorious among the crew for having no sense of humor."
That's fine. I just wanted to make sure you weren't actually going to go down and start beating on the witnesses.
Whately kind of tilts his head to the side. He says, "I do know a few on the ship who would be eager for such an opportunity, though."
Yeah, that's generally classed as, being a feral, and that kind of gets you kicked out of civilization, living with meat eaters, so not good.
Hey, Pim, since these guys are new here and have all kinds of tech, maybe we should ask them to help us with the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I might want the thing.
Yeah, but look at it this way. There's lots of stuff there, and we can pay these guys an information. If we get their ship, we could bring back a lot more than we could in just your shuttle.
Yeah, I guess. Easier to get past the Lorophon, too.
As Whately's waiting for a response back from O'Connor, he looks over at Rick, kind of raises an eyebrow.
Trying to speak to tell you you got a message back.
Okay.
Eli's asking if he could find out where the capital city is. Which one is it?
Oh, well, I guess there's a lot of regional hubs. Those are like a capital.
Yeah, like, if you're looking to, like, find, like, a governing place, I mean, that might be on the second or third worlds, but, yeah, let's just say things don't come back from those planets.
Down on Alpha, power tends to extend only so far as you can enforce it. So there's sort of a lot of what you might call nation states.
Yeah. Oh boy, yeah. Well, the big one's Lorifon, then you've got the Jarfon. You know, they're kind of these two little subsects that kind of, occasionally have wars with each other. They're still into that. Most people, though, are pretty much more sensible.
There's also the techno city of Shamsun. Boy, those guys are assholes.
Whately
but-
raises an eyebrow. You have warp travel, and yet have not conquered such things as war?
Not for, like, I've conquered war. I don't start wars. But, independent states, people still with a beer in their butt about imperialism, that'll still happen.
So,
Interesting.
don't
We're
take
fun,
this
though.
the wrong way. And he looks up, and then he looks over at John, and then back up at the others. Most of you look pretty much like the same sort of species to me. Yeah, Trident's not like that. There's people on Trident from all kinds of civilizations. And while we usually try to get along, the definition of what getting along is can vary a bit.
I'm just laughing because you have Whately, who's half human, half Trill, or not Trill, Betazoid. You have Rick Tier, who's a lizard person.
Oh, I forgot Rick was along. I was thinking of Bryce and the security guys.
You have Bryce, who's an android, and then you have John Tardigrade.
Okay, well,
John's-
he mentioned John.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so actually, they haven't seen John yet. I'm going to put it that way. Haven't seen
Okay.
John yet. They,
But yeah, he singles out Rick, but that says the rest of you
Okay.
look like about the same species.
Whately kind of shrugs. He says, I suppose. You haven't seen the rest of the ship yet.
Are you going to make us do a full tour?
Please don't. I really want to get back to work. Bills don't pay themselves. Of course, if you guys were gonna help us, then we'd have lots of extra time for you.
So Whately shoots off a message to O'Connor, and he looks at Rick, basically wondering what they think should be done in this situation.
The helping is probably the acting captain's decision, but I am curious. We were hit by something, not debris, but some kind of energy after we had entered Reliant, Trident.
Well, it's not like we really have a habit of coming and going from here. Nobody really leaves Trident, and most of the time everybody is just kind of pulled in, so that doesn't sound like anything I know about.
You said earlier that your caretaker is in charge of letting people leave.
Theoretically.
He looks at Rick, he says, I'm wondering if it isn't some sort of system that they have set up to prevent people from leaving.
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know of anybody who's ever left Trident. Ever. It's not listed in the histories at all. But I would suppose that if someone could do it, it would probably be the caretaker.
I mean, something has to maintain this pocket of subspace.
Oh, that's the World Tech. The World Tech provides everything.
It mimes. It's tech in the world. It does everything.
Burton holds up a hand and kind of counts off some fingers on his paws. It controls the climate systems, the gates for travel. There's the guardians that keep the ferals under control. Although when there's a new life form needed, usually the caretaker just has something in the galaxy show up. And then boom, Trident has a new thing.
Whately checks the little console pad for a response from O'Connor.
Eli?
Did you not hear that?
No.
No.
Okay,
Nope.
that was weird. Just a couple words are received by Waitley on my way down.
Understood.
Gun, meanwhile, comes between Irden and Pim with a tray of cookies and says,
You want snack? Snack? What's this?
looks down and says, "Not one of these running around."
There's a slow sequential blink across all four of Erton's eyes and says, "Hey, I've seen one of those before."
Waitley does not seem surprised at all.
Yeah, little guy, like to dig? Oh, you guys like to dig. John
Erton,
beams.
meanwhile, takes a cookie and just kind of chomps it.
I'm a very good digger. Oh, want to see me? Oh, wait, no, I can't dig here. I could, but it would hurt the ship.
Pim just chuckles a little bit.
Yeah, point of advice, don't do anything to hurt your ship. It's probably the best asset you're gonna have for, like, years.
Yeah, everybody could see a light bulb just went off in Waitley's head, but he doesn't say anything.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Eli, have you arrived?
Did I give the evil guy ideas?
Eli has arrived.
Well,
Captain?
I've already posted a picture, so now you see Erton sitting at the table, sideways on a chair to accommodate his tail, and Tim is there too.
Leaning back.
So, Captain O'Connor, as I have apprised you, this is the situation we are faced with.
So they say there's no way to get out.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
know of.
I would guess the caretaker might be able to do it, but nobody's ever left, so I don't know.
No, no one we've heard about.
True, but I suppose if they left, would it actually make it into the histories? Who would record it?
Well, Arun, and if Arun's keen on, keeping the peace here and not causing a lot of disorder, I mean, at least with people trying to go out and, broaden out the resource collection, he might keep it on the hush-hush.
Gee, Pim, you know a lot more about what's going on than I do.
Well, I'm many years old, so it comes with the territory.
So I have a question for you.
Wait,
You don't have any recorded history about anyone making their way out, but do you have anything about people forcing their way in?
hard to say. I mean,
there's a lot of stories about people arriving at Trident. I don't remember any stories about people trying to come to Trident.
We kicked down the door to get here, so I'm imagining we can kick it down the same way.
There's a door?
interesting.
It's a metaphor.
Oh.
Like,
We made a
just
door.
think of, you've got this, the space we're in, which is, this four-dimensional volume. You keep going, you'll just kind of keep coming back around the other side eventually. And imagine that space as a whole, but it's four-dimensional. I mean, it might be hard to picture, but it's kind of like you're giving it a four-dimensional butthole.
As Pim goes on about this, Erton's eyes just kind of cross.
So,
I'm gonna say the most cliche thing you probably ever hear from an alien. Take me to your leader.
Yeah, we couldn't really do that if we wanted to.
What's it
I
gonna take?
mean,
No, I mean, literally, we couldn't do that.
we could.
It's not a question of wanting, it's a question of being able to go to wherever Speaker Arun is. I mean, on the first thing, we don't know where that is.
Yeah, she makes appearances, though. Maybe we can entice it.
I have a suggestion, Captain.
Let's hear it.
Perhaps we should ask for access to their database on their ship so that we can peruse their historical records.
Which ship are you talking about? Pim's shuttle or the YCV Kinsey?
Either, both.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of use out of the Kinsey, but for what it's worth, speaking as a representative of my people, go for it. Just, maybe tell me what's in there, too.
We just want your history, so yeah, we'll give you a copy.
Cool.
Yeah, I also know a pretty cozy place that has a good, good library, you could say.
Let's hear it.
Actually, and Erton looks over at Pim for a second. We'd really, really like to get back to work. So how about if we operate on a bit of an exchange here?
What are you trying to get from that ship?
Whatever we can, really.
What things are valuable here? let's put it that way.
Literally anything.
Yeah, any complex
it's-
alloys, trace metals, power units.
Wires, circuits, weapons, food, information.
How about we just send you back with barrels full of food?
That doesn't trade so well.
Food, alcohol. Is gold valuable here? We have plenty of gold.
Yeah, not particularly. A lot of that stuff you can kind of get from the world, the world substrates.
Look, let me
it's kinda
put it this way. On the YCV, right where we were, there's a door we can't open. If you help us open that door and see what's inside that room, I personally will come with you and answer your questions and do whatever to the best of my ability. Okay?
Alright. Ricktier, get some cutting beams, and you know what? How much of this do you want to salvage? We can just get the entire ship.
Whately holds up his hand and says, Captain, if I may make a suggestion.
Let's hear it.
He looks over at John. John, do you,
He can't teleport. This place is interfering with it.
Oh, okay, I missed that too. Okay, never mind then.
Whately
wouldn't know that.
Oh,
so.
oh, that's true. Okay, so yeah. Okay,
So,
so
I was
that
answering
makes
in
sense.
character.
Oh, okay. Says, oh. The first time that these two have seen Whately is like the first time he's had any kind of like emotion or reaction on his face. He's just like, oh. And he's very much got that look of, oh, we're really fucked. He says, never mind, I withdraw my suggestion.
How much of the ship do you want? We can have that whole thing stripped down to the bones and brought to where you want it.
Yeah. If you can strip it down and, get past the Lurfon war barge, I'd say, yeah, that's
Lorfon
quite a
war
bit.
barge?
Yeah. Lorfon, one of the major powers, they do have some patrol vessels in the area, but if you can get past them, which they're slow, let's just put it that way, because all they do is
fast.
basically... Okay, you should be good. So, Lorfon war barge. Past that, get down to Sariat Run, and... oh boy, yeah, you've bought a lot of service from us.
Yeah, I agree. You help us get into that room, and I'll go with you to Sariat Run or wherever, and I'll help you as best I can, but it's not like I can just snap my fingers and make the caretaker appear. Although, he holds out his hand and snaps his fingers just to check. Okay, no, it doesn't work.
Cut to a scene of Mary in her quarters, snapping her fingers, wondering why things aren't working the way they normally do.
So Pym also says, as far as I can offer my services, I've been told I am A, persistent, and also B, somewhat annoying. I may be able to apply these skills to stimulate a conversation. Been known to do that from time to time. I've always wanted to try it with a caretaker.
Don't let him fool you. Pym is really smart, though he doesn't always act like it.
I like him. You can be our liaison.
I have to wear a uniform.
If you want.
I'd prefer not to.
I'll let you wear whatever the hell you want.
I'm good with this. I do like the poncho.
Okay.
Ponchos are cool. Alright, Rick here.
Yes, I'll get an engineering team ready, shall I?
Not just an engineering team. I want you to get the worker bees we have, cut that ship apart, get it down where they want it, and try not to let it burn up in atmosphere.
Let's just start with the room for now. I don't even know what's all on that ship. We might want to be careful cutting it apart. It's really old.
Yeah. Conceivably there's could be some stuff nesting there, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing of the sort.
Well, I'll trust Pym on that one. Does seem a shame to let it go, though. It's one of the only intact ships left in Trident.
Alright, we won't cut it up then. Maybe we can salvage it in a way to get it operational.
Wow.
We can treat it like, refurbishing it, just cleaning it out and making it a little bit easier for future generations to get the thing running later.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Whately raises a finger. Did you just say one of the few remaining ships?
Yeah, at least of anything that size. The reason the Kinsey has survived so long is it's got meters and meters and meters of thick armor. You could tell by all the pockmarks in it. I guess it must have been some sort of really heavy-duty ship back when it was used. Most of what shows up in Trident either lands or crashes on the surface. Stuff in orbit tends to get torn to pieces, so all that's left are some small space stations, some shuttles, and occasionally some other small ships that have managed to squeak by.
So full Kessler syndrome going on.
Yeah, Pym looks to Irton and then to O'Connor and says, "Sure." I will take a moment to pause and say, Grawl, you are the xenoanthropologist. Is there anything you want to ask these two peculiar aliens?
Yeah, I do have this internal image of once Goral has noted what's going on, he probably tripped over himself to get down there. Goral?
Oh, sorry, I was hitting the wrong button. Grawl exits the turbo lift and runs straight towards the aliens. So, where exactly have you come from, and how many species are down on the planet?
Cool, you got feathers.
Yeah, that's a little unusual. Yeah, great to meet you. As far as, species down there, rough count, over 15,000. Humanoid.
That's just a ballpark estimate. You'd have to ask a witness. It's not like we've actually, counted.
Well, hard.
As for me, well, my people are the Yizzle, and we've been here for a long, long time. Pretty sure we came on that ship there, the YCV Kinsey, but there might have been other Yizzle ships that got sucked in as well. I don't really know much about where we used to come from. The histories say, though, that whatever the place was, it was really, really cold. We still do better in cold areas.
So you gather around the poles? Are other species distributed via different environments, or do you all live in one big society?
Everyone kind of mixes on Trident, but I think you might have one of those newcomer issues where you don't understand really how the environment works on Trident.
Yeah, it's shall we say, a big quilt of a planet. A little thing here, a little thing there. You're not really dealing with warmth from the suns. Those are generally coming from, spires and, the star anomalies. But, those are, the big things. You'll see when you get down there. Alpha, lovely place.
But are there, any, main things between everything else? I think I heard I accidentally may have tapped into the ship's sensors to spy what was going on. You mentioned something about ferals?
Oh, yeah. Those are bad news. Pym, you tell them.
Right. So you kind of got this, to have civilization work, but there's so many different kinds of people and so many different species from so many backgrounds, evolutionary lines going this way and that. You've got, the little problem of, at a glance, is this person likely to have a conversation with me or rip my throat out? Civics generally are in the first category. They're, in people like you and me. You can converse. Ferals, on the other hand, be bipedal, but they will try to rip your throat out.
Some of them are sapient, some of them aren't. But generally, what makes a feral is that when they see you, they'll just try to kill you.
Yeah, it's a hunting way, not the straight, murderous way.
I think when you're dead, it doesn't matter.
Well, your body's going to good purpose. It's a cycle of life.
That's pretty deep, Pym.
Waitley's just glad there's no Klingons here.
Oh, no, there are.
No, I mean in the room hearing
Oh,
this.
okay.
He doesn't say this. He's just thinking this as they're talking about, recycling dead bodies. He's just like, I am so glad there's no Klingon here to hear this.
So would these ferals include Hirogen?
I
don't
know that species.
What's a Hirogen?
Bring him a picture.
Yep. Waitley taps a few things on the console and brings up basically an encyclopedia entry on the screen for Hirogen.
I don't think I've seen that before. Pym?
No. Could be Pteranodon? No, not really. No, I haven't seen that one before.
Are there any of my kind, or maybe our cousins of off?
I think I've seen people with scales before, but nobody that looks exactly like you. Your feathers are really pretty.
Waitley brings up a thing on the Voth to give them an example.
No, none of them. Kind of know us. Trying to play ring toss with that back little, horn thing.
Whately brings up a thing of the Ferengi. How about them? Do they look familiar?
You
We
know
can
them.
kind of be here all day, and I think the only answer is going to be he points at Whately, or hold on. He points at Bryce, not realizing he's an android. He's like, "Yeah, we got them. I mean, you guys kind of look like him. So apologies if you're all kind of one big group, but yeah, we got some humans around."
He's not human.
Oh, my apologies.
He's a synthetic.
All right. Oh, cool.
I think we got those too, but they look different.
Pim just tries to high five Bryce.
Bryce is incredibly confused, but eventually just raises a hand and gives him a high five.
Nods and sits back down.
We also got some of those little guys, like the guy with the cookies, but they're really rare.
Wait, hold up. You have tardigrades.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, some of them have been involved in history too. Like this one who's real famous, the great warlord Basho. He conquered 7 armies by himself.
Also
Eli-
kept,
Go
he
ahead.
also laid siege to Smash Rock, I think 3 times in a row. I mean, he just kind of kept going at it. I mean, he would conquer the place, let him rebuild after a weekend, and then try to go at it again.
Yeah,
Whately-
the old joke is that it wasn't called Smashed Rock back then. It was just rock.
Whately's just looking at John, gauging his reaction to this.
Yeah, Eli is also doing that. That's what I was trying to
John
say.
is enthralled. He is just sitting. Yeah, his eyes are just, for what you can interpret, they're basically glittering. He is just enraptured by this story.
He trained with Klingons. Yeah. Do you have Klingons?
Yeah, Whately brings up an infographic on the Klingons.
Yeah, you don't forget a forehead like that. Those guys are down there.
Alright, what about people like me? I'm only half human, but, the spots on the side of my neck, they go basically all the way down. But yeah, anyone like me?
Look, I think as Pim said, we could be here all day doing
I
this.
know, but this is just one last one.
I have one last one.
I don't think
mine first.
I don't think so.
Oh, good damn.
Captain said one last one. Let's not disobey direct orders.
Like I said, if you guys want to see more stuff, we can take you down to Sariat Run. Just, help me get in that room real quick. Look, I got bills to pay, okay?
Alright,
Yes,
yeah, we'll get you into the room. We'll pack your shuttle full of whatever the hell you want. Food, whatever.
Ooh, Squirrel just brought up a really good idea.
Okay, fine. That one. That's fine. Squirrel whispers to Eli and then gives him the go-ahead.
Pim just shakes his head. Nope.
Yeah, never seen that one before. Oh, but look, it's got a tail like me. Well, not really like me, but kinda like me.
A little bit.
In reference, Squirrel is showing them a picture of Setsa from the front of a tabloid that she was on.
Oh,
Grawl just says. Grawl says. All right, no, hold on. Pim also says, but if you're not gonna, if you're thinking about trade goods and stuff like that, I might be able to find some people interested in literature of that type.
Literature. What?
The thing of entertainment literature. You can appreciate the wonders of nature.
If you have any local text, it's a deal.
Urton just kind of goes a bit pink underneath his fur.
So basically at this point, the crew, just to have us do a little thing tonight before closing up, because we've got about 20 minutes left, the crew basically has the directive of, hey, let's go check out this door. So you need to form an away team.
Yeah, Rick's. By the way, Rick had left once he got the order. Once he confirmed to get the engineering team, and he's already assembled the team at the transporter pad, and has let everyone know.
So who all is going along on this team? If we're going to need engineers, that Chorog and Rick, and anybody else?
Daniel would probably make a good one too, because he is used to older ship tech, and he has a spacesuit.
True.
Now, Whately doesn't volunteer for the away team directly, but he does volunteer to be one of the people to help go through the computer records.
Okie doke.
Squirrel volunteers.
To go with the
Who
wave
else?
team?
Yep.
Okay. Last call for away team.
Screw it, I'll go.
I'm cotton kind of trapped in Urton's voice.
If we're talking salvage, I'm in.
Bryce, you have the bridge.
Bryce and John.
When O'Connor says he'll go, Waitley looks at him and says, "Sir, is it advisable for the commanding officer to leave the ship, especially considering our circumstances?"
Listen, if Janeway can leave the ship in middle of all that, I can leave the ship for 5 minutes. It's not going to take long to cut a door.
Duly noted, sir.
The group assembles in the transporter room, and Urton has popped his helmet back on. And he kind of steps on the pad and just says, "Okay, I really hope this thing works. I'll be honest, I'd rather, walk, but I guess I can't."
Well, we could take a shuttle.
I mean...
Transporter would be quicker.
We're using the transporter.
So the group energizes and comes over to the ship in a large, wide corridor that is square and seems to run for just meters and meters and meters. It eventually just peters off into the darkness before you can really tell what's going on. The group, on the other hand, shows up in front of a massive blast door, which is clearly reinforced and heavy. It looks to be about a meter thick. So, ever since the power plant failed a long time ago, there's doors like this all over the ship that can't be opened. But that means there's probably some goodies behind it that we could probably sell.
Can't be open. I like a challenge.
Have you ever tried turning the power back on?
Nah, pretty sure it's out of fuel.
What does it take for fuel, if you know?
Well, probably be easier to answer that if somebody hadn't already salvaged most of the reactor.
That's fine. Hey, Rick Tier.
I was going to say, we have a team of engineers with us.
Yes,
Let's let them do their job.
Just hook up a power source directly to the door, I suppose.
Well, we could check to see if there's any manual releases in there, but if it's an emergency lockdown, there would likely have to be something, but not necessarily. So I could check that, or as you suggest, we could try and would have to jerry-rig a connection, since obviously I'm not going to use standard voltage and wattage for Federation tech.
So, how are we going to try to open the door? When we figure that out, I'll tell you the roll.
All right, Ricky. So it's we'll try the manual way first.
All right, let me see if I can find an access hatch. See if I can hack my way into this.
Okay. Chorog, go ahead and give me insight engineering. Rick, you can assist.
Daniel is just gonna scan the whole thing, and maybe the surrounding parts of the hallway where the door connects.
7 on the dice.
Okay.
Oh,
Daniel, go ahead and just give me a reason science.
Let us spend
Alright.
some threat.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, Google Drive's being weird.
In the meantime, I will say that Rick and Chorog do find some openings to get a little further through the wall. It looks like they probably would have an easier time cutting through the wall than the door. It looks like most everyone just assumed that people would go through the door, and thus the wall is actually a weaker point.
Is it reason science?
Yes, reason science.
While this is going on, Grawl is looking around, seeing if there's any text written on the wall, either graffiti or an old sign.
There's old signs above the door. It reads something in a language you're not sure you can get. The Universal Translator has managed to deal with spoken language, but not written. Yeah, Daniel, this is not exactly complicated. It's just a magnetically locked door. If you could restore power, it would probably just pop right open.
Cool.
While they're working on the door, Waitley's looking around for any consoles or and he's touching everything, just kind of brushing his hands on panels and
There's
consoles.
not a lot of dust. This place has been basically sealed.
Well, basically, since he's figured out that his telepathy is limited to physical contact, he's just checking to see if there's any kind of residual psychic energy that he can pick up on.
Not after this long. The sensors have dated this ship at probably 30 or 40,000 years old.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. No.
Well,
So,
The walls
knowing
seem
what we
to
do.
be an alternate way through. They're not as thick as the door. Daniel, what have you found?
It's just a simple magnet lock. Just powering the door should open it.
Well, we gotta find the mechanism first. If we can reverse its polarity, we should be able to pop the mag lock.
Well, you're already in the wall. Wires aplenty.
Alright, let's try and track them and track down the correct paths of this and power it and see what happens on the other end.
Go ahead and just give me control engineering, and we'll spend some more of our thread on this.
This is wires, so it wouldn't be EPS.
Yeah, it wouldn't be EPS. Oof, it really doesn't matter which one of you I pick. Right, so you basically get into the walls. You can't decide which wire to hook up to the power source, so heck it, you're gonna hook them all up. Rick takes out a small generator and basically just kind of wires in everything and starts up the generator. Lots of stuff happens at once. The lights come on, there are klaxons, there's a voice overhead announcing something. The universal translator is having trouble with it. The signal might have degraded from whatever it was supposed to be. And above everything else, the door pops open. And outward rushes a massive amount of atmosphere because the door behind it, or the area behind it, was pressurized.
Waitley braces himself against a wall.
Trog is still in the wall.
As soon as the gust of wind goes by, Urton just kind of pokes his head into the now lit up room and just says, "Oh, hey, look, it's an armory. Check out all the rifles."
Trog pops his head out of the wall. Did you say armory?
Yeah, it looks like this must have been an armory for the crew. Check it out. There's all those rifles along the walls. There's some pistols over there. I think those are ballistic shields lined up in the corner.
Trog makes his way out of the wall and into the armory, and it's Trog's wonderland. He doesn't know where to begin.
It's absolutely pristine. No dust, no anything. With the lights on, it looks like a candy store of weapons from an ancient civilization.
This is beautiful.
Daniel sits up from where he was blasted flat on his back on the floor and just says, "Shields, you say?" and gets up and walks in.
Stacked over in the corner, just to go ahead and say what the ballistic shields are, they look about the rough height of Urton, maybe a bit taller. They're obviously massively heavy and have a port through them in which you could stick a gun. It looks like they're designed probably for the forerunners of an attack to basically be carried in and have guns shot through them while they're protecting everyone behind it.
Waitley's looking for a console, computer, any sort of interface device.
There are several in the room lit up and flickering.
He is going to get to work.
All right, in the background, Waitley, give me a, let's say, control science. Meanwhile, Urton is just kind of lifting several boxes and kind of pushing them out of the way. Yeah, these will be good. Weapons always sell for a lot. And hey, go ahead and grab one for yourselves or whatever. Souvenirs and whatnot, yeah?
We could have given you 100 weapons.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be these.
They'd probably be better. Could have given you a Kalashnikov. You could throw that thing in mud, stomp on it, run it over. It'll still fire.
Trog is looking around. He spies a rather ancient-looking rifle weapon.
Most of the weapons in here seem to be magnetic-based. It looks like they're slug drivers of massive power. Kind of thing that looks like it could almost knock Chorog on his ass firing it.
Trog finds one in particular that he just agog over. The thing is absolutely gorgeous looking, and it's in pristine condition.
So yeah, go ahead and take one if you want it.
Trog pulls it off its rack and looks at it. This thing is...
Yeah, you know what?
It's a maglev. I haven't seen one of these I haven't seen a functional one of these in ages.
The viewers can't see this, but the picture that Chorog put in there, yeah, that's what all the rifles look like now, because that's way cooler than anything I had in mind.
By the way, Waitley got one success on his roll.
Yeah, you managed to start pulling out fragments of information. There's nothing cohesive, but you'll be able to look through it later. It looks like, at first glance, though, this was a heavy cruiser, looks like on patrol at the edge of Yizzle territory, when it got sucked in.
All right, he's downloading everything to his tricorder.
Rick will try and join him now that he's just sort of set things up at the door and just sort of just making sure that everything's tight and going to stay connected and suddenly not lose power to everything, and then going to head in and start to get some computer details as well.
I'm going to retroactively add John to this scene just so he can sort of peter around a corner holding a giant hammer and say,
I'm gonna go smash a rock.
John, no.
Yeah, rock on, little dude. I wonder if that
John
hammer does things other than just hit people.
John will, just strike the hammer against the ground.
Okay, go ahead and roll me control security for John.
Eee.
And all the rest of the threat goes to this. Oh, but it didn't matter.
Oh. Nope, he got 2 successes.
John smashes the hammer to the floor, and a shockwave runs out, knocking everybody over and sending a couple boxes flying. Urton lands on his back with a grunt, and then just kind of rolls and looks up and says, "Cool."
I want to do that again.
Please do not.
Okay.
Don't worry, little guy. You can do that more once we're on the ground.
Trog finds in a corner a stash of shoulder slings for the rifle he found and attaches it and slings it over his shoulder. I'm going to see how I can get this thing working. He also finds a pistol he likes.
Eli is also taking
And actually,
a pistol.
I'm going to give Trog some good news. These are all absolutely pristine, and especially based on what John's hammer just did, you shouldn't need to do anything to get this working.
How big is the hammer?
It big. John small. Don't matter.
Okay.
You got part of the great strength.
Trog gets, is looking over the pistol, and it looks like it's ready to fire. He pops out the magazine out of the receiver. Oh, look at this thing's ready to fire. This has it looks like titanium bolts. Let's see what this thing does. Trog,
Okay. Let's
looks like
see.
a target on the wall.
Yeah, maybe shoot at that target and not at the other wall, which might go to, space.
I mean, it's a thick hole, you said.
Trog manages to load the slug into the chamber, primes the weapon, and let's see what we got.
Control security. While all this is going on, Bryce makes sure surreptitiously that for history purposes and things, some of the various weapons and ballistic shields and whatnot are beamed out onto the Reliant for later study.
Wait, when did Bryce get here?
He didn't,
Oh, okay.
but he can, basically do this from the ship.
That's good. But yeah, Eli's taking a pistol, and just hopefully no one's noticing.
All right, Chorog, will you lift up the pistol and fire? There is a massive amount of kickback from this pistol, and there's a massive twang at the end of the hallway. It's a good thing you shot at this target, because the target now has, it looks like, a foot-deep crater in it. If you'd done that anywhere else, it might have been really bad.
Trog rubbing his shoulder. Man, this thing got kick. I love this thing.
Yeah, I think these weapons were all designed for my people. We're kind of, stocky. So yeah, you guys have really done us a solid, so we'll take you down to Sariat Run. You can find a witness there, and we'll help you in whatever way we can. Sound good?
Alright, but, coming back to the ship first.
Okay.
You can land in the shuttle bay.
That's good.
And don't forget, I had asked for permission to access your own personal ship's computers as well.
Oh yeah, talk to Pim about that. It's his shuttle. I'm really just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah. You can come out with me. And, show you the shuttle. You can ride back, see your ship from the outside. If you don't do that too much, it'll be a fun
We see
time.
it all the time.
Gotcha. Well, got some drinks in there.
Right, so I guess we'll meet you back on the ship, and then we can tell you. Sariat Run is like the town where we'd been working out of. It's a real nice place. There's a temple there, so there's always a witness you can talk to. Plus, everybody in town is real friendly. You should get a real handle on what Alpha's like there.
Alright, Whaley, you ride back with them since you gotta check their computer anyway.
Duly noted, sir. He
Temple.
follows Pim.
Trog is turning around to leave the armory. He notices a odd box laying on the ground. I wonder what this is. He pops it open and finds some wrist-mounted weaponry. One looks like a crossbow. The other one looks like a wrist-mounted slug device. Hey, Daniel, check these out. I think these might fit on your suit.
These weapons also look slightly different than the other ones in the area, and there are fewer of them. Spoils of war, perhaps?
Here, try this crossbow. I think this might fit your style a little more.
You guys said something about temple. Do you have like a religion down there?
Hold on. DB first.
Daniel, I guess, goes over to the box and says, "I don't know. These all look kind of lethal."
Well, I guess if it's actually a crossbow, couldn't you just put whatever you want in it and fling that? Like, you could use, like, I don't know, drugs or something.
Yeah, Stutterbolt.
Hear me out.
I shoot broccoli at him.
Hear me out.
What's
Attach a
broccoli?
punching bag.
Eli's trying to talk.
Attach a boxing glove to one and just fire it. You know, someone's never read Green Arrow. It seems.
You can also launch bean bags. Those are non-lethal and they hurt on impact.
We do have a number of beanbag-based weaponry that has been used in the past.
And Erton looks over to Grawl and real quick just says, well, there's sort of a religion. You'd probably want to talk to the folks down there. I'm not real religious, but a lot of people kind of worship the speaker.
So the speaker is considered a god to you as well as your like captor?
Well, I don't know if I'd call them a captor, but they run the world tech, man. That's as close to God as you can get.
Yeah, keep the lights on, very much.
Well, I've been away from my ship a bit long, so he taps his comm badge. O'Connor to Reliant, beam me back, along with everybody but Whately.
Yo, Whately, man. Come on, I'll show you our computer. He grabs a big box full of stuff and just kind of waddles out of the hallway.
Whately eagerly follows.
So, for our final scene tonight, because that's a good place to leave off there, I'm going to present Kara with something. Kara, the character.
Last we left Kara, she was sitting on a very strange bed in a semi-spherical room, watching the slideshow of information about Trident presented to her because she didn't have much better to do.
Eventually notice, like it's just been a bit of a background thing, but you eventually notice that her body is feeling quite a bit different. And if you look down, you'll actually see that a series of force fields and small devices have been at work. Her body is quite a bit more, kind of a pure white. Kind of like, at least in, patches along your arm, like threads along your skin. It looks like you've been given an extensive augmentation overhaul. And both of your arms look the same.
She just kind of looks down, at part of her first and says, okay, what? She looks down at her right hand, which now matches her left. She says, what the hell? I mean, she stops for a second and thinks, should I be enjoying this?
There's sort of just like a little background narration with just general stats and figures. It's incredibly dry. It's kind of almost, again, part of like the ambient of the environmental systems of just listing these figures. And that's the only response she receives at this time.
She just kind of looks around and says, okay, I think I'm ready to leave now. She goes over and just starts inspecting the wall.
You hear a little bit of a tapping.
Huh? Okay, what's that? She leans in and puts her ear to the wall to listen for patterns.
So, you hear a bit of a tapping. And it's just sort of increasing. Until it's like a thumping, and you can start hearing it through the room.
Okay, that's not Morse code. She backs away from the wall.
The wall eventually, just like this implement, just hammers through. And, like, it withdraws. Hammers again, and just a fountain of sparks just clears away the debris, making this cylindrical hole in the chamber. As this happens, the part of the wall that was displaying the view screen, that just completely goes dark. So there's this hexagonal pattern, basically, covering a large section of the wall, covering it in shadow. And what you see stepping out of that is, well, it's a large figure. This large, stocky thing kind of squeezing through and extending out.
And Kara just kind of looks at it real quick and just says, okay, I don't care who you are. Jailbreak time. Let's go.
So
she's already running for the hole.
So the creature picks up Kara, and It's bipedal. It's large. It's muscular. It's got these large plates covering its body. It's got a series of almost these like frills coming out from the underlying clothing. You know, there's a bit of a jingle, a little bit of gold weave. She's getting a better look at that, and it looks like a pirate.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. She just kind of squirms in the grasp. Is this not a jailbreak? Is this a kidnapping?
There's a bit of alien language, and then eventually it's like,
Harvester would be very pleased with us. Yes, we didn't even have to fight any guardians in here. Very good, very good.
and he just starts like trotting through, dragging Kara behind it. And then on the other side of the chamber, there's just like a just giant explosion that happens.
Kara just yells out, "Whoever it is, quick, help me, jailbreak, I'm getting kidnapped."
So at that point, there's a lightning blue flash. Like, you've experienced blue flashes before from a certain level creature, but this is a lightning blue flash. And there's just this, like, the scything sound, and a hit, like a metallic sound, and the sound of maybe something burning. And the hand that is holding you has fallen to the floor. The pirate has recoiled and is stepping back, reaching for a weapon. And this giant tardigrade just lunges forward with a sword, taking out the pirate in one stroke, and simply uses the sword again.
Holy shit. You're not kidnapping me, right?
Well, you're here. We're going to take you. But the other one said it would be okay.
Who's we?
Graves calls out, "You're not dead, are you?"
And I think that is the most epic point ever to just stop.
And there we go. We'll continue the adventure next time.